Yo, what up YouTube? ExplosiveMovement here, back here with another video. And in this video today, I'm going to be talking about structuring a strength training program if you're an athlete looking to be more explosive, be a better athlete, and improve at your sport. So really what it comes down to in strength training is you're going to want to keep it simple and focus on the most basic movements. What I mean by that is the squat, deadlift as your lower body movements and full body movements, and then the bench for your more upper body development. Reason being is to be a better athlete, you want to improve rate of force development, how much force you can produce, and the best exercise to do that in terms of working on the maximum amount of force you can produce are the squat, the bench, and the deadlift. You're going to want to work on that maximal strength and that maximum amount of force you can produce, right? Also, through focusing on these lifts, you will improve pretty much overall body strength, and through doing these with proper technique, you're going to improve the strength of your body, you're going to have functional hypertrophy in your body, and you're going to be able to be healthier actually as a result, because the fact that your body's going to be stronger and is going to be able to withstand more high intensity training because of this. Now, along with maximal strength training, you're going to want to work on some speed strength training. So this basically means Olympic lifting, or if you can't do Olympic lifting with proper technique, doing Olympic lifting variations like any type of explosive pulling movement, or doing like some squat jumps. And the reason you want to do these is because you're going to want to transfer all that maximal strength you're doing, and then transferring it down into more of the speed spectrum. And doing speed strength movements like Olympic lifting and Olympic lifting variations are a great way of doing that. Now, what do you do after these, right? So you have your main focus on your maximal strength development, squat, bench, and deadlift. Then you have your speed strength movements to work on more high velocity things, transferring that force into more speed spectrum. What do you do after that? Well, these comes in the auxiliary movements. And basically what auxiliary movements are meant to do is improve, basically work on muscles that you feel need strengthening. So one thing that I always do, and that I recommend all athletes do, is really work on their posterior chain, specifically the hamstrings and the glutes, because these are two areas that will help you be a better athlete, as you'll be able to produce a lot of force, and because the posterior chain is responsible for a lot of force development. And through improving the strength of your posterior chain, you can actually reduce injury risk in your body, specifically in your legs, by having a stronger posterior chain. So doing a lot of hypertrophy in your posterior chain, doing a lot of auxiliary movements that focus on your posterior chain is a good idea. Now, alongside this, for you, depending on whatever your strengths or weaknesses are, you might have some auxiliary movements that focus more on the chest, might focus more on the arms, might focus more on the quads. Just basically, auxiliary movements are pretty much up to you, and doing whatever you do, working out whatever muscles you feel need to be worked out. So, strength training program, want to keep it simple if you're an athlete. Have a main focus on the squat, the bench, and the deadlift for developing maximal strength. Then you do speed strength movements, Olympic lifts, Olympic variations, Olympic lifting variations to work on the speed strength end of the spectrum, and then auxiliary lift to work on muscle groups that you feel need to be worked on. Now, one thing I want to address is how there are some people who say that you need to work on. They do like a lot of, I'm sure you've seen this, where they do like a lot of kind of crazy looking lifts, and they say that it's an effort of being sport specific, but really that's not really the case. You really want, if you're trying to improve at your sport, you want to focus on becoming a better athlete in the weight room, becoming a stronger athlete in the weight room. So you focus on doing maximal strength movements, doing speed strength movements, and then if you want to work on specific areas that you feel will help you in the sport, that's what the auxiliary lifts are for. Doing different auxiliary lifts to help complement your main lifts is what's going to make you improve as an athlete, right? You're not going to be able to do anything that sport specific in the weight room. The most sport specific thing you can do is getting out there and practicing your sport. You're not going to be able to replicate your sport in the weight room unless you're a weightlifter, of course. But football players, track athletes, soccer guys, you're not going to be able to replicate your sport in the weight room. So keep the weight room just the weight room. You're going to want to work on strengthening your body, you're going to work on training your nervous system in the weight room, and you're going to want to work on working specific muscle groups in the weight room. Don't try to get too sport specific in the weight room. Keep the weight room the weight room. Keep it simple. Keep it basic. All right, hope you guys enjoyed the video. ExplosiveMovement signing off.